What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm your boy NarikChase, and in this video we're going to be doing another top 10. And in this top 10 we're going to be talking about top 10 ways that the Supergirl film could have been a better movie. Now, of course, there are a number of things they could have did a hell of a lot better, more than just top 10. In fact, it's more like 20. But I just wanted to go ahead and just talk about the 10 that I thought were exceptionally important, that stood out the most to me. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. For those who don't know, when Superman came out with Christopher Reeves, there was 4 movies, but there was also a side movie called Supergirl that was actually canon with the main with Christopher Reeves movies. Even though sometimes, most of the time, doesn't feel like it is. But having said that, in this one, Supergirl has come to Earth to find this power source, exceptionally powerful power source, to save her people from her planet. So she came here to try to find it, and of course, wackiness ensues. Now, for those who've seen those Superman movies, they're not the best. A lot of times, a lot of cheese on it. There's definitely a lot of suspension of disbelief going on, and sometimes you have to suspend that too. But let's go ahead and just get into it. For one thing, let's talk about Supergirl. The Supergirl character, I don't want to say she was terrible. I think she was actually a good actress, and I think the character was actually decent. Unfortunately, I will say that the movie did not do the character any type of justice. The character came off as just completely cheesy. Didn't have any kind of developing arc. As like the character comes to Earth, these new people, these new customs, these new things that she's never experienced before. These technologies, the food, the creatures, the flora, the way that the landscape, the way the air is, her even developing her powers. There's literally no depth of character in this movie. There's literally no character development in this movie. There's literally really nothing to actually flesh the character out outside of her having this persona of Supergirl. Hell, there's the thing where she comes to this planet and she automatically knows things that she shouldn't know because she's never been here. A letter of recommendation, which she had wanted to get into the school for, like, but you don't know what this school, you don't know what this is. I'm not sure if they teach school on Krypton or whatever the fuck this girl is. Honestly, it didn't like she was on planet. It looked like she was in a big spider's web or a honeycomb or something. But she knew enough about like stuff like that. Didn't really make any sense. Like how she knew what a letter of recommendation was. Like I don't get that. And why the hell did she want to go to the school? That's another thing. Her being at this school didn't have nothing to do with her finding this thing. So that was some weird stuff. Maybe they just put it in the movie to have her have these like wacky hijinks of her trying to learn to be on Earth and everything. But sorry guys, sorry. I don't. Just low energy is just kicking my ass. But anyway, Supergirl should have had better story, better development, just overall just a better execute, not execution wise. I thought the chick that Helen Slater did a good job of Supergirl. I can honestly say I felt like she was a good Supergirl. Just the movie didn't do anything for the character as far as development wise. And then by the time the movie ends, you're wondering, she has not grown as a character. The potential power that this object has. She hasn't really learned to harness it. Her abilities, really, there's really no her developing, having a learning curve with those. There's this little subplot with this forced romance in it, and even then, you don't see her coming out of it a smarter, more stronger, or vulnerable person. Just it is what it is. So, Supergirl's development was a big problem. Also, there was this sequence where they went to the Phantom Zone. She ended up being sent to the Phantom Zone, which I didn't mind. It was actually possibly the best part of the movie. You got to see what the Phantom Zone looked like, and it's just this fucked up wasteland and terrible weather and everything. But there was a mention of these criminals that were sent to the wasteland to this Phantom Zone, and they were not in the movie. We didn't get to see who they were. You didn't get to see what their story was. I was really interested to see how the bureaucracy and the law put these people in here, their personalities, how the criminals from Krypton or wherever their planet is, how they differed from that of Earth. Like I really wanted to see that, but unfortunately they don't show. They mention it in like one line, and then they don't talk about the criminals in the Phantom Zone anymore. So that I felt was a really a waste of potential. You don't even get to see how the Phantom Zone affects people, which that could have been a better way. Yes, her uncle was in there, but he wasn't in there a long ass time. At least not like the Phantom Zone criminals, which I would say I would like to see how the Phantom Zone affects people that have been there for years, not somebody that's been there for like 2 or 3 days or a week or something like that. Which he seemed to be doing good for himself in there. But also number three, a better villain. I didn't mind the lady that played the character. I didn't really mind the character that much because I thought the lady was actually fun. She was a fuck ton better than the punk ass Lex Luthor in the Christopher Reeves series. I'm sorry. Never. I hated Lex Luthor. He was over the top and stupid. Now, the difference is between this lady and Lex Luthor is she was a bit more serious to a certain extent. I think I could take her serious a bit more. She was more manipulative. She wasn't running around telling people that she's a criminal genius and a criminal mastermind. It's like that's fucking stupid. Why would you tell people that? I mean, yes, she was a dumbass and she was cartoonish and just stupid. But I would have liked to have a deeper character. How she got to the point that she was. You know, they keep alluding to her being having like more poor roots or something, but they never really explore it. They don't give really her motivation for why she's doing the things that she's want to do, whether it's something she developed as an adult, something she developed as a kid, maybe perhaps feeling powerless at one point and then trying to get to this ultimate power. Supposedly she has magic, which that's something that I wanted to bring up. They never explain how she learned it. They never explain how she met this guy in the movie. They don't explain how she met this chick. They don't explain shit, you know, about this character. So you don't know much about her motivation. But like I said, I did like her personality. I thought she was fun. I thought she definitely brought it. She definitely had personality. Definitely had personality. It was probably the best character in the freaking movie, actually. But I wish the villain was deep. I'm sorry. That's gonna be my gimmick. I'm sitting here talking and then I just start yawning for some stupid for no reason whatsoever. But and this is one thing I wanted to bring up too. That number four, is it magic or is it the Omega Hedron? That was one of the things that I thought was a problem. If the movie doesn't, the movie makes it seem like she's doing all this stuff with magic, but it's like they don't ever show her actually utilizing this orb thing, this power source for the magic or something like that. So you don't know. You don't know what. You don't know why. It's really hard to explain. She's a part of this voodoo cult or whatever kind of cult that uses magic. Okay, I get that. But the problem is, what is the point of her having the magic when she has this power source? If she didn't have the magic and she had this power source, then I understand her utilizing the power source to do all these things. But the movie doesn't make it seem like that she uses this power source. It makes it seem like she's doing magic the entire time. So it's like, okay, so what's the point of this Omega Madron thing? What is the point of this? She never uses it. It's like maybe two parts of this movie where she might use it. And it's already kind of been established that you kind of need to hold it to kind of harness the power and channel the power, but she doesn't really do it. So um, it's kind of hard to figure out which one is she drawing off of. Is she using magic or is she using this Omega Madron thing? Because the Omega Madron thing or whatever is supposed to be somewhat limitless in its magical potential, with its potential for constructing things and the power. So you would see her do a lot more with that. Now, for the things that she did, I can understand she had used magic for, which really wasn't, which was kind of stupid the way she did a lot of the things. But but you know, it's like okay, she was really limited with the things that she could do, so I can believe that was magic. But then again, it goes back to what was the point of having this power source thing? It ain't like she used it to boost her magical powers. I mean, possibly there was one part where she grew this cliff out of the ground with a castle and stuff, and that's probably the only time that you actually like. Okay, she had to have used that power source thing to actually to do this, to use it as use her power. So I'm on the fence about that. I guess it's potentially both, but then again, they never show her actually like really tapping into this thing, really focusing on it, meditation, some scientific method for tapping into his power. Like she doesn't really do that either. So it's another thing that kind of emphasizes my point of what's the point of her having this thing if she's not utilizing it. Yet you see her kind of play with it a little bit, but she doesn't really do anything with it. All she does is put it in the stupid statue jar thing, and the statue jar keeps growing. And it's not like that actually goes somewhere where she like turns the statue thing into a giant monster that Supergirl has to fight. Even though Supergirl has to fight a giant monster, shadow monster thing, but it isn't like a giant statue with this power source in it that this woman's controlling, which would have been a hell of a lot better. So they should have figured out is it going to be this Omega Madron thing, whatever it is. I'm messing it up, or her magical powers. But you all know Kryptonians are actually are vulnerable to, which could have been a better thing, a shtick to go with. Overall, the story could have been better. The story could have been a hell of a lot better. Yes, Supergirl could have came to Earth pursuing this Omega Madron thing, but not in the way that it was. The uncle, I don't know what the fuck he did. If somehow he made it flew through the plastic seal that covered the city, and didn't somehow doom it to just sucking out all the air and shit. Or did it? I don't think it did. It just flew through this plastic thing and it just went to Earth for some reason. I don't know how they knew it went to Earth, but her going to college didn't do anything for the story. Yes, it introduced us to Lois Lane's sister, who was a decent character. Don't get me wrong, she was actually a decent character, but ultimately pretty much a useless character. And it should have been, yes, Supergirl could have been learning Earth's customs while she's looking for this thing, and this one chick is sitting here trying to rule the world or whatever. It was pretty basic. Yes, you see that in pretty much any superhero story. It was pretty generic, but the execution of the story was just terrible. It did get boring. You wanted to see more Supergirl doing her thing, but you really didn't. You see her sitting here getting to know people that have no reason to be in the fucking story at all. I mean, what are the chances that Lois Lane and Clark Kent are in Metropolis right now, and she happens to go to the school where Lois Lane's sister is? So that didn't really make any sense. The whole subplot where the bad lady is trying to get this guy to fall in love with her was just fucking ridiculous. Especially since she was exceptionally attractive woman. She was a pretty attractive woman. She kind of looked crazy, but she was a really attractive woman. So it's like, why are you so concerned with this dude liking you? Like that really didn't make any sense. I can understand they had some suitors or something looking for her. She's an older woman, but she didn't look bad. So it's like, okay, what is up with this storyline? That's stupid. And the love and anyways, that just say the writing, which is number six, the writing could have been better. There's one part where Supergirl is flying to Earth. She has her clothes on from her home world, right? And then all of a sudden, she just has a Supergirl girl outfit on. You're like, why? Where did the fucking suit come from? Yes, we get that that's Superman's cousin, which honestly though, is she supposed to be Superman's cousin? I think in this incarnation, I believe. I don't know. The main story of Supergirl is she's Superman's cousin. There have been some incarnations where she's not his cousin, and I'm not sure if this is going off of that because they never really bring. I don't remember her saying anything about Kal-El or anything like that. So there's a bit of not sure how to go with that, but she has the Supergirl costume on. It just came out of nowhere. Also, again, like I was saying, her learning what a transcript was and how. Like I'm not understanding how she did that. Why was it written for her to be going into the school? I can't harp on that enough. Another thing, it was a scene where this bad woman drugs this guy that she likes. Somehow this guy drugged got out of her place, walked out of her place, fucked up, could barely see, navigated all the way to this small town where he's walking through the streets. Nobody is sitting here asking what the fuck. I'm like, where the cops at? This guy's literally walking in the street about to get himself hit. Why ain't nobody doing anything? And then the bad lady, which this could have been a pretty cool moment to show this shadow monster that keeps popping up, which I thought the shadow monster wasn't actually a bad stick to go with. I actually thought it was pretty cool. But or have some golems or something go get this guy. Where did she go? What did she send to get this guy back? She sends a tractor truck, the one which got a car like that. That's like that. She sends that after him, and I'm like, that's fucking stupid, really. And then this thing is literally fucking up this town. It's running over cars, making cars crash, going through buildings, and like I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, where are the cops at? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's just poorly written. How the bad chick knew about the Phantom Zone and sent uh, Kara there, I have no idea. I don't understand how she knew about the Phantom Zone. Now, like I said, I'm glad we got to see what it looked like because, again, it's one of my favorite parts in the movie. But it doesn't explain how she got sent there. How Supergirl beat her didn't make any sense. So the writing could have been better. And as far as dialogue, the dialogue is completely trash. I'm sorry that it is. Going back to number 7, we have the forced love interest. There's literally no reason for Supergirl to like this guy, and there's literally no reason for the villain chick to like this guy. It literally made she is just obsessed over this man for some reason who happened to like Supergirl only because the woman gave him a love potion that if he's I believe the love potion is supposed to be like the first person you see you fall in love with or the first woman you see or something. If they played it something like that, and I'm like, well, what the oh, so this whole time this dude is drugged on his couch, he did not look at this woman. Like that part made no fucking sense. And then there's literally no reason Supergirl should be the first person he sees. Yes, he's drugged and he's fucked up and he's wandering the streets, but I'm like, all of these people that's walking around, he never focused on nobody. And all of a sudden he focuses on Supergirl, which is weird because she flew him into like this remote location. And I'm like, why did she do that? Like I don't get that. I don't get the whole circus bit. I thought that was pretty weird. But I don't know. I don't know. That whole it was forced. It was forced for the bad chick. It was forced for the good chick. This guy literally had no reason to be in this damn movie. And it was like 3 instances he kept showing up. And I'm like, why in the fuck does this guy keep showing up? It was like when you watch a movie and it's like, okay, this character's actually in the movie. Kind of like Vince Vaughn's character in Lost World. Well, Lost World, Vince Vaughn is some kind of I don't know what the fuck, some kind of freedom fighter for the dinosaurs. No, he was something else. He was like a photographer or something with Julia Moore's character. They were like partners in crime. Something I don't remember what it was. He had something to do with her, but then later on, you end up finding out this fucker is a freedom fighter for the animals, and I think he was something else too. Later on in the freaking movie, so you're like, this guy is just in this movie, just doing too much. The woman just sees this guy, she just over all head over heels on for him, and she's got magic, so there's literally no reason that this guy should have fell in love with the Supergirl chick. That really didn't make any sense. And again, it didn't really make any sense for her to try to enroll in this fucking school because it did nothing for the plot. It's like, why? You're supposed to be looking for this Drama John thing. Why aren't you looking for that? Why are you sitting here talking to Lois Lane's sister Lucy Lane or whatever the freaking name is? That does not make any sense. Who wrote this crap? The forced love interest. I can't stand them sons of bitches. I was watching the Leader Battle Angels and they had a forced love interest in it. This guy, you knew she was gonna like him, and you don't see why either one of them like each other. There's no build up or anything. Gosh. Another thing, 8. one thing that makes a good movie, especially a superhero movie, ain't necessarily always the superhero himself. It's supporting cast. The supporting cast were decent. I will say that they were decent. The On Supergirl side, she had Lucy Lane, which is honestly she was a good character. She was an interesting character. She was a fun character. You did get Jimmy, the original Jimmy from the Christopher Reeve movies. He actually came, which helps make it canon because he's really the only person. It would have made more sense to have Lois and Clark show up, but that's a story for some. That's another one of the topics that I wanted to pick up on. But yes, the supporting cast on their end was okay. I didn't really mind them. The bad guy, bad chick, she was pretty cool. She had kind of a goofy sidekick woman with her. I don't know what it is about these old Superman movies. They always got to have a fucking idiot for a sidekick for these bad guys or whatever. I think the only one that was worth a nickel was the woman from the first Superman movie. I thought she was decent. She's probably about the only one that I'd be like, yeah, she was an idiot, but I actually liked her, so I didn't mind her. Didn't mind her at all. Everybody else just fucking idiot and fucking stupid. This woman, she was okay. She was okay. I didn't mind her either. Now, on her side, there was this weird English guy, and the English guy was in the Magic too. I did not like his character. This whole time, he's begging this woman to just get back into her good graces, and that's all he does the entire movie is to beg. She does him wrong, he begs to come back in. She does him wrong, she begs to get in. She talks about him, she degrades him, she does all of this stuff. He's supposed to be the guy that put her on, that hooked up with money, that gave her power, just gave her, you know what I'm saying, put the damn silver spoon in her mouth, so to speak. But unfortunately, when she gets this Omegatron thing, she automatically knows his ultimate power and basically says, fuck this guy. And then he the entire time is trying to get back to good graces, and I'm like, I don't like this guy. He's a fucking asshole and he's stupid. So I'm not sure about that character. I did not know. I didn't say I'm not sure. I hated that character. Really, everybody else in this movie, especially the love interest guy, didn't really give two shits about the love interest guy. The movie would have been just as, I mean, it would have been just as shitty, but the movie would have been better off. It would help the live movie if he was not in the movie, because unfortunately, he was pretty much a damsel in distress, and you don't want that. You don't want that. Yes, I get that this is Supergirl, and they try to show a strong female character, and then they have a strong female villain, which I didn't mind either one of them. It's just I didn't like his character because he got pitted in, and he was just completely useless. Like there's literally nothing memorable this guy did in this fucking movie. Um, and number nine is what I had touched on, but I wanted to talk about. Jimmy was a good cameo to put in this movie, but it would have been a better movie had Superman and possibly Lois Lane actually came into it. Regardless if it was the end of the movie, regardless if you seen, Clark shows up and is like, well, I could try to help you, not take the limelight or anything, but just had a good moment. Think about what happened at the end of Batman v Superman. Now, look, I know a lot of people don't like that movie. I fucking love the movie. But look how, even though the movie was about Batman and Superman, this kind of rivalry that's going on between them, you had Wonder Woman in the movie. You could have had Clark Kent be in the movie a little bit here and a little bit there, possibly to help show Kara, you know what I'm saying, the ropes of Earth and everything. And him trying to help her find this thing, but not really taking the main spotlight, but enough to say he's in there. And then have during like this climactic battle or whatever, then kind of have him possibly show up, not to take over the fight, but to potentially help. Hell, it could have been Superman fights this fucking shadow beast while Supergirl takes on bad guy later. Just have him as a cameo or something would have did wonders for this movie. And I'm quite sure people going to this movie into the movie when it came out wanted to see Christopher Reeve make an appearance. I don't know the specifics or reason why he didn't, but I just know people would have loved to seen him in the movie, and I think it would have made it better. Also, number 10, and it couldn't have been helped for that time, is the better visuals. The Shadow Beast creature I didn't mind. I thought it actually looked pretty decent. The practical effects behind it I didn't mind. I thought it was actually pretty cool. Whereas like shit's just like being knocked over and stuff, and you can't see it, but you can definitely see feel the presence of the creature, especially when it's fighting her. I thought it was pretty cool. Some of the magical effects were shitty, but like I said, it's to be expected for the time. I did not, and I've never liked the Christopher Reeve Superman outfit. I think it looks like a fucking costume, but and I can say I didn't like Supergirl's costume either. I thought it just looked stupid. It looked like she was about to be in a porn movie or something, or she just went to Party City when they had a good sale on Supergirl costumes, and she just went and bought one. So I didn't like that. I did not, of course, there's only so much they could have did at that time. I'm not holding against, but I'm saying if they were to remake this movie, get them visuals on point. So, guys, there are some more things that I could have said or added to this list, which I'm not. I'm gonna let you guys take over in the comment section below and throw out your ideas how this movie could have been a better movie. Uh, you know, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button to get the best we got going on this channel, and please let me know. Did you agree with my points with this movie? Are there other points that you would like to see? Is the movie good to you? Me personally, I think it's decent. Yes, I know it's gone down as like one of the most shittiest superhero movies on top. I get that. I still was somewhat entertained. I still thought it was a bit of a time waster. I mean, yes, it's shitty, but I did like Helen Slater as Supergirl. I thought she did a decent job. The villain chick, she's kooky and cartoonish, but I enjoyed the performance. I think she had a lot of great personality. It's got some interesting ideas going for it, but unfortunately, the movie just fails on a lot, damn near everything almost. Although I will say the part where Supergirl's learning how to fly, she's jumping around. That part was shot decently. That was a decent shots. They did all right with that one. But anyways, guys, we'll definitely catch you guys later. NarikChase out.